Ah, not seen this in a while. Yeah. Let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it simple and solid. This is basically what I had the other day with the Polish. Well, it's not basically the same, but you know what I mean. These obscure openings. Let's see, set. Let's see, free even. Don't know if I just hit it with. Just keep developing. Suppose I don't need to do anything too smart here. So just keep developing. Let him figure out what he wants to do with his pieces. Play if bishop g5 by going f6. Might do. A lot of pawn moves here. Suppose he doesn't really know where his pieces want to be, which is unusual because it's his opening. So queen b6. Queen b6, I think I'm going to castle queenside. And then I'm going to start blasting this open. b4. I'm thinking just a5. Might be, no. Probably a5, there might be some sort of tactic on d5 after the exchanges. d4, knight e2. Probably makes a lot of sense. Maybe just castle kingside and they say, what is your plan? Well, are you going to go f4? So you might just be solid enough here. So let's castle and find out what it wants to do. Maybe go knight g6 and use either the h4 or f4 square. I'm definitely not worse here. I think that's pretty clear. So I can d4 is a good knight e4. Do I want to relieve the tension center? Kind of want to say no for the moment. I still want to know where he's castling. Is he castling kingside? I'm going to leave this pawn. I kind of want a waiting move, but I don't know what my waiting move to be. Is f6 a bonkers waiting move? It might be. d4, knight e5, queen c7. I'm going to try and push through c5. Don't like this plan. But I'm feeling like, okay, if he goes backwards, I don't mind this plan at all. So I feel like I'm going to go c5. I'm going to go knight g6 first. Do I need to? No, probably not. Let's just go c5. Let's just gain a bit of space this way. If he takes, then we were creating a weakness on a6. If he doesn't take, do we push? Just want to create some kind of weakness somewhere. So if we take, then there's maybe a backwards pawn on c2 that we need to deal with. If not, then we push. And then we've got a lot of space on the queen side. So we're going to take, actually, just to fix this pawn on c3, d3 even. Then I was trying to get, is maybe this just working? I'm not too phased by this, I don't think. I don't think I'm phased by this. I don't even have to, no, probably have to take it. So knight f4, just take, like, there's a lot of moves to take advantage of an open file there. Or a lot of moves in between yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of moves before you get to take advantage of the open file. That's the sense. That's the complete sense I was trying to get out there. And I still might have knight g6, knight f4. Just take advantage of that. See, the thing is, I don't know if I even want to take it. I don't know if I get myself in trouble. You know, no, that's a stupid. Just take the free pawn. Just take the free pawn. You can retreat back. There's plenty of squares. Just get yourself out of dodge. The c file is going to be contested, but I think that's fine. And now there's less threat of this. See, like here, do we just go like g6? Don't even think we have to yet. So just plan on bringing this in. If there's mass exchange on f4, again, he needs more moves, I think. F4, F4. Just back. So rook can come in c2. Maybe we'll just take this. So knight c6, where does the piece go? So already has rook c2 makes queen d1. Wait, rook c2, queen d1 takes. First takes, we can take this. Let's go for that. Because in my head I was thinking queen d1, rook c8, rook c1 drops this. Which is not ideal, but if we can just take here on d2 and then play bishop b4, I think that's fine. This isn't a threat yet, don't think. I might just go 6 there actually. Get your queen trap pretty quickly there. Otherwise, you need to defend this rook, because otherwise I just pick it up for free. Then I'll have a full piece up, plus the pawns. Ugh. Still not had any coffee yet today, so still not feeling my best. What's he calculating? Yeah, so just f6. Oh, that's where you're going back somewhere. Where's that queen going? Don't think it's going anywhere. Oh, I'm assuming he'll resign. Okay, I'm going to take this. Let's just pre-move that. Oh, it's a bit rude, this non-resignation stuff, but okay. Now if you defend the rook here, then I take this one. If I even have to do that. G6 should stop this. Don't think I really need to think this through as much as I am. Spite check, just go to G7. Attack this, and then we're just going to get these pawns rolling. You take here, and I can take that. Okay, let's get them rolling. Okay, just defend it. Oh. I suppose the trick is not to get so bored that you miss a tactic somewhere, but I don't know what I'd miss. Like here. Oh. Okay. Did F5? Was he taking? Was that his plan? Probably just ignore it and go here. No, I suppose that's. This never resigns school of chess. Like I get why people do it and why people say it, but God, it makes us boring sometimes. It's not even a need to protect this. This is protect already. There's no need to do anything rash. There's no breakthroughs on this side of the board. You drop back, then a queen. And it even covers checking square. Okay. And what are you achieving? Check. If it goes this way, we just queen. It blocks, just queen. Okay. Okay, guys, welcome to the analysis. To cut a long story short, my opponent left the game, and essentially there was about a minute and a half of me not really giving too much commentary, just sort of sitting there a little bit annoyed that my opponent hadn't resigned, made me play it out, and then left the game. So, claimed the victory, and we'll move on from that. Obviously does bring up some frustrations in Rapid, in particular. In Bullets and in Blitz, if someone doesn't resign a lost position, fine, flagging is very much on the cards. But with so much time in Rapid, I feel like it's a little bit rude in some situations. Obviously, we then get an argument of at what level is resignation appropriate, what evaluation, which becomes a little bit of a murky area. So fine, playing on, not a problem. Time wasting, playing a little bit slow and, very much running down the clock. Again, how fast you need to move, murky situation. But I think we can all agree leaving the game quite unsportsmanlike. So the combination of all three of those left a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth, but it is what it is. And yeah, so what am I doing? Sorry, I was looking at something else there. So we played the Grob, or my opponent played the Grob, and I don't really want to go into too much the Grob theory, but essentially the main line is this, which has got an astonishingly high win rate at master level, which is quite disappointing to see. But it's a good surprise opening, and I think after c takes, I assume we go queen b3 here. Yeah, you're sort of utilising this bishop in the long diagonal. You're attacking this pawn on b7, and I think that White's getting what they want here. White's getting a murky position, a little bit messy, and this is sort of a natural position for them to play. Whereas what I went from the game might not be quite as critical, but just nice and solid. This bishop wants to be very active, so I blockade that diagonal with lots of pawns. Nice and simple. Sorry, phone's distracting. Other than that, not too many critical points in the game. I don't think the way that my opponent played this, as I mentioned, was overly critical. I think that, maybe going d4 earlier or maybe going c4 earlier was maybe a little bit more accurate. There's many points the computer wants h5 just to break up, but I think the way I played it, just nice and solid, developing, is perfectly fine. And here is what I think might be the critical moments in terms of the sort of opening going into the middle game. I think this is where I stopped. Yeah, so I took about a minute here. So I think this is where I identified a sort of critical moment. The king's not castled, and this was sort of going into my evaluation a little bit. So I was thinking, is there a way to blast open centre? I was hovering over the f pawn. I would love to play f5, and I was thinking of ways that I can maybe make it work. Couldn't quite figure it out, if I'm brutally honest. I think it's a little bit premature. But I'd love to play f5, blast open the centre, take advantage of the uncastled king. But I don't really think there's a way to do that. I'm trying to figure out where I want my pieces to be. Do I want to keep my rook on the f8 and my rook on a8 because I can produce maybe these at some point? Do I want to put it on the c file? Do I want to put the d file, challenge the queen? There's a lot of questions here, and to be honest, I wasn't really sure. Because there's loads of different ideas, there's knight g6 and f4, but I think that the position hadn't really resolved itself to know precisely where I wanted my pieces to be, which is why I played d4, and then after knight to c5. I'm essentially trying to, yes, gain space and sort of make White's piece a little more passive, but also I'm trying to resolve what's going on in the position so I've got more natural squares for my pieces to be on. And you see that after I get the pawn to c4, the computer does want d takes, but won't go down that line too much. Essentially, I'm creating a natural square for one of my rooks to be on, and that's c8. Take advantage of this file. I'm creating a square for my knight, so this pawn was in c6. That's now available for my knight. I am going to play a5 at some point and utilise these two bishops being very active on the queen side. So I think this was sort of a critical moment where I think that taking a little bit of time was warranted, and I think that there was a comment on one of my other videos about people about players not calculating. Even at, I think the person commenting was 1700 and saying, "Oh, it's nice to see, calculation isn't crazy at different levels." I think I was in a blitz game. Yeah, you can't calculate everything. I could spend ages here trying to go over precisely what move I want to play, but in the end, it's very important to have a plan and not just think to yourself, okay, move to move, what do I want to do? And in keeping the pawns here, nothing's really resolved. Whereas in playing the way that I did, you end up with a more concrete plan. Here, just want to mention, we talk about mouse slips often in blitz chess. This wasn't a mouse slip, this was a brain slip. I sort of spaced out for a second. My intention was to play c3, and for whatever reason I spaced out and spaced back in and played c takes d3, which is the only blunder I played in the game. Just c3, and black is absolutely dominating the position. These pawns just controlling absolutely everything. Very much when your pawns are facing this sort of way, that's where you want to attack, and really that's what opponents should be thinking here, and that's why I'm wondering why he's not playing f5 a little bit sooner, because we're sort of set up in that way. But in this position, very, very happy to play this. I'm going to break with a5, and I'm just going to utilise all the space on the queen side, and I don't think there's enough compensation on the king side for black to be worried, and I don't think that the attack's coming very fast on the king side, so I was very happy to play this line. But c takes, not the worst move I've ever played in my life, and interestingly, obviously, nice little tactical shot here with rook d2, and interestingly, the computer hates white's position so much, it doesn't actually mind giving up the queen between this and the queen e2 and a few different moves. It doesn't really mind because it just thinks white's absolutely bust. And overall, just nice and clean from now on. I don't think the computer gives any inaccuracies for either side until f4, where you're just opening up the king to checks. Is essentially what the computer's saying as well. And yeah, nice, clean, simple. You know, don't get tilted that your opponent's playing on, don't move too fast, and don't allow counterplay, which I think I did quite well. But yeah, nice, simple game, no worries, and yeah, move on to the next one.